your teacher like to write?
Yes.
She does. Has she written a story?
Yes.
What story has she written about?
Rattlesnakes.
Say it again.
Rattlesnakes.
Rattlesnakes? That sounds pretty dangerous.
No, that was
It wasn't?
dangerous.
It wasn't really dangerous?
Not on a hike.
Well, you know what? She shared that story with us this morning. So yes, sir.
I'm writing a book at home,
You are.
and I just started it 2 weeks ago.
Oh, cool. What's it on?
What?
What's it on? The book. What are you writing a book on?
Dinosaurs.
All right, very cool. Very cool. Are you interested in dinosaurs?
Yeah.
I've got a lot of interest. I'm going to write about things that I'm interested in. I'm interested in space. And so I'm going to do a little research right now on space. What are you guys interested in? He's interested in dinosaurs. I'm interested in space. Mark, I love that you guys have all your name tags out. Do you have name tags so I can see? All right, go ahead, Mark. What are you interested in? Okay, so you're interested in dinosaurs. What about you, Amelia? Ballerinas. All right, yes, sir. Joseph?
I'm interested in doctors.
You're interested in doctors? Like different kinds of doctors?
No, like doctor books and football.
Oh, okay. Oh, and football too. Very cool. Yes, what are you interested in?
Hyenas.
What is it?
Hyenas.
Hyenas. That's very interesting. What are you interested in?
I'm interested in singers and singing.
What is it?
Singing
Yes.
and singers.
And singers, different, different kinds of singers. Very neat. Yes, you guys have a lot of different interests. I love that. Yes. And the white shirt right there. Yes.
UFOs.
UFOs. Oh, very interesting. I love that. That's kind of interesting. That interests me. Yes. Wolves. Okay. Yes. What are you interested in?
Spiders and scorpions.
Holy moly. Yes.
Cheetahs.
And cheetahs. Where have you guys been doing some research or something?
No.
I
always do research on
What about you?
I didn't know.
What is it? What is that?
A video game.
Oh, a video game. So I guess I was thinking about things that I want to learn more about, right? And sometimes I think you probably know a lot about that game, right? But what do you want to know more about? Yes. Technology. All right. Okay. So let's hang tight for a minute. Do you know what kind of writing is that, or what kind of reading is that when you talk about things versus a story? What kind of? Yes. Yeah, it is expository writing. Or sometimes I also call it this kind of writing. What do you think? What is that? Informational writing, right? There's informational reading and informational writing. And usually, when I do that informational reading, it's because I'm interested in something. And as I told you, I'm interested in space, and something just occurred. You guys know anything about space?
I do.
Do you? Do you know what kind of just occurred not too long ago out there, up in the skies? Yes?
R2.
Hmm?
R2.
Oh, okay. What? Yes.
They put a flag on
Say it again.
it. They put a flag.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did put a flag on space. Yes. You know what just happened recently?
Rockets they built
Yes.
and gadgets.
There's so many things going on in space right now. Yep. What about you? What's happening in space?
We have an article and I found out a video of a robot named R2.
Okay. All right. I was just talking about that. But you know what just happened that I thought was kind of interesting? You know what just occurred? What just occurred? Not too long ago.
Meteor shower?
Meteor showers. Do you know what meteor showers are? What are meteor showers?
There are the rocks that are just in the sky that are moving around.
Yeah, they're moving around. Well, that's the question I had because I wondered about that. Have you ever heard of a comet? Yep. That a comet, sometimes I knew, is kind of something that's moving across the sky. A meteor shower is something that falls down to Earth. And so I wanted to find out more about those two things. Yes.
It was the stars falling down.
Okay, it's kind of like the stars are falling down, right? Falling stars, shooting stars, things like that. So, I did a little research, and you know what I just thought of? I left my papers, I know. So, anyways, I'm gonna go with this, guys. So, anyways, I did some research. Guess where I went to, guess what I did? Guess where I did my research? Where do you go to do research? Yes. Yep, you can go to the computer. Yep, and you know what I typed in when I went to the computer? Because this was my question. What's the difference between a meteor and a comet? Because I've seen both. I've seen a comet and I've seen a meteor. Yes. Where
A
else?
meteor floats. It like fall down and like you have like it's about a Milky Way or like Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
And a comet like shoots up in space and it's like sometimes blue or red or
Yeah.
different colors.
Yep. Well, I wasn't sure, and so I did a little research. And now I think I'm kind of a little bit of a expert because I did some research. You want to hear what I did? You want to know what I did? I'm going to write it in front of you because I gotta think I can remember my research from my thing. So, so when you're doing informational writing, well, first of all, when you're writing, how do you organize your writing? How do you organize your writing? Yes.
Put sentences.
I gotta come up with sentences.
Like
Yep.
paragraphs and question marks.
Say it again.
Exclamation marks.
So I have to have punctuation. I have to have sentences. What else do I have to have when I'm writing? Yes.
Capital letter at the beginning of your sentences.
All right. Let me write. I gotta have capital letters. Yep. Can I abbreviate? What's it mean to abbreviate? What's it mean to abbreviate? Yes. What's this stand for? Yes.
Capital letters.
Yeah, but did I write out the whole word capital? Or did I just abbreviate it? I made it shorter, didn't I? It stands for capitals, and I put a period because it means the word is longer. Capital letters, where? Yes.
Beginning.
Right, but I didn't write out the word beginning, right? I just had an abbreviation there. So you have to have capital letters, you have to have sentences. I heard. What else do you have to, what else do I have to have? What else do I have to have?
Titles.
I have to have a title. Yep. Can you ever write a writing piece without capital letters at the beginning of the sentences?
No.
Right. Can you ever write without having a sentence?
No.
Writing in sentences? And you can't write without, what did you say?
Titles.
Say it again?
Titles.
Oh, without a title. Do you always need a title?
Yeah.
Do you always need a title? Yes, you always need a title. What else do you always need? Every time you write for 1,000,000 years. Yes.
A period.
Yes. Or a period, or can we say ending marks?
Punctuation.
Can I say ending marks? Because what do ending marks mean? Why am I putting ending marks and not just periods? What are ending marks? What are ending marks? Yes. What are ending marks? Yes.
It's like period, exclamation mark, question mark.
Yep. Perfect. Okay, what else do you have to have when you write? Yes.
Question marks, exclamation marks.
Yep, we have those down there. Yep, what else?
Speech bubbles.
Do you have to have speech bubbles? You know another word for speech bubbles? What's another word for speech bubbles? Yes. Anybody know? It begins with D. You have speech bubbles, or in third grade, you know what we call them? We have speech bubbles in the play. Dialogue, right? That there's dialogue going on. But dialogues don't happen in informational writing. Where do they happen? Because am I going to be talking in my informational writing on comets and shooting stars? Yes. No. I'm just finding out information, and I'm not going to be saying anything about it. I'm just finding out information. We use those in stories. All right? But in all writing, we have a capital letters, we have ending marks, we have sentences, we have titles. How about this? Have you ever heard of this?
Actually,
Hang on. Do you have to always write in paragraphs? Yes. You have to write in paragraphs. What is a paragraph? And how many paragraphs do you need? If you're writing, what's a paragraph? What's a paragraph? Yes. Yes, it is based on your story, yes, or what you're writing. What's a paragraph?
It's like a whole bunch of sentences
Yeah.
put together.
Yeah, it's a lot of sentences, it's a group of sentences that make up a paragraph, right? In a story, you're gonna have this. Have you ever seen this? What's a BME? Yes.
Beginning, middle, and
Yep, you're gonna have a paragraph or sentences about the beginning. You're gonna have paragraphs about or sentences about the middle, and you're gonna have a paragraph or sentences about the ending. How many paragraphs are in a story, a beginning, middle, and end? How many paragraphs? Yes.
3.
Yes. The first paragraph is gonna be about
Beginning.
the second paragraph or group of sentences is gonna be about what?
Middle.
And the last paragraph, number 3, is gonna be about what?
End.
How do you know if you have a paragraph? What tells you you're looking at a paragraph? Yes. Have what? Well, an ending mark's in a sentence, so you're gonna have a lot of ending marks, yes.
And then
Yeah, you're gonna indent a little bit, right? So a paragraph, I'll just draw a little arrow like this. What's this arrow mean? What's that arrow mean? Yes.
I mean, like, if you didn't draw it, you would do like that.
Yeah. It means that when I draw an arrow, it means I need to indent. I need to start in a little bit. How about this? And then I'm gonna start writing. How many indents do I need to have? If I'm gonna have 3 paragraphs, how many indentations do I need? 8. I'm gonna have, how many paragraphs am I gonna have in my writing? 3. How many, I gotta indent, how many indents am I gonna have? If I'm gonna have 3 paragraphs, how many times do I need to indent? 1 indent for every paragraph. How many paragraphs am I gonna have? How many indentations am I gonna have? I'm gonna have 3, right? 3 paragraphs, 3 indentations. Does that sound right? All right, but this writing, I'm not gonna have a BME. That's a story. Do you know what I'm gonna have? I'm not gonna have a BME. What am I gonna have? Yes?
DLC.
No.
KFC.
What am I gonna have?
Introduction, body.
Oh my word. Where'd that come? Oh, I love it. You knew it was up in the thing, on the thing. Good, I love it. And you know what I do instead of, what, BME, what does IBC stand for? Yes. What's it stand for?
Information.
Oh, I love it. Close, you started off right. Look at introduction, body, conclusion. All right, are you ready to hear about my research? Okay. All right. I was very interested in this. So what am I going to start with if I do my 3 paragraphs? What am I going to start with? I'm going to plan my information. What am I going to start with? What am I going to start with? Yes, sir.
Your name
I can put my name on there. Yes.
and the title.
Okay. Yep. There's my.
And the date.
Say it again.
And the date.
And the date. Those are the things that always have to be in place, right? There's my name. What's the date today? I'm not.
9/3/14.
Is that right? What's that 9 stand for? What's the 9 stand for? Aiden. It's the date. What's the 9 stand for? What month is it?
September.
It's September. And what's the date? September what? Huh? September 30th. And I gotta think about my title. I'm talking about the differences between comets and shooting stars. I guess I wonder what my title would be. Yes? Okay, so what does informational title sound like? What would I call it? Yes.
Learning about stars and
Yeah, yeah. Anybody else have a suggestion? Mark?
space information.
Space information? Mm-hmm. But I can be more specific. How about if I just start with this? Well, I think I'll do it this. I was thinking about using shooting stars, but I think I want to do this. Is that okay for a title right now?
Yeah.
All right, so I have my title, because you said that, and now I have to think about, first thing I'm going to do is I got to think, what comes first? My introduction, body, conclusion. Yes? Introduction? All right, the introduction is going up here, and then what comes after my introduction? Yes? The body, I'll put that right here, and then what comes last? Yes? My conclusion. I'm going to give myself more in the body, more room in the body. Why? Why am I going to give myself more room in the body? Yes, my dear? It's what? Yeah, it is. It's where most of my work is, which is in the body, which is all my research on what?
About
Comets and what? Yes. Comets and meteors. So will that give me enough room down there for the IBC? What do you think? Is that okay? Can you see? Do I have enough room for my body? All right. So, have you ever seen this before? Because this is how I did my research. How many things am I researching? How many things? What's your name? Adam? How many things am I researching? One? Look at my title. Am I researching one? Two things. I am. Have you ever seen this kind of a plan before?
yes. Yes.
What is that called? What is that called, Joseph?
Beginning, middle, and end.
No, it's not a beginning, middle, and end. Remember, I'm doing informational writing, so I'm doing an IBC. Has anybody seen it? Have you seen this before? What is that called?
You put the middle part is for your body, and then the other two are for the information.
Well, you know what I'm going to show you right here? Watch this. This side of my circle is going to be on what? This side of my circle, I made a mistake. What's my other circle going to be about? Yes?
Oh, what is that they have in common?
Well, where does that go, what they have in common?
The middle.
It goes in the middle. This is what's just about comets. This is just about meteors, and what goes in the middle is what's the same about them. And I found out there's only a couple things that are the same about comets and meteors. Do you know what they are?
Oh, they're both on fire?
Nope.
They're both rocks?
Nope. I love that. Let me tell you. Watch this. They both have. Can you see it? They both have what?
Tails.
They both have tails. I'm going to put a bullet here so you can tell. Have you ever seen bullets before? All right. It tells how many items there are. And they both do this. They both strike. They both strike Earth. That's what's the same about meteors and comets. They both have tails, and they both strike Earth. Do you know what's different about them? I wrote myself a note off my thing. So this is what they're called. This is what a comet is called. What's a comet called?
Dirty snowball.
Why do you think it's called a dirty snowball? Yes, sir.
Because it's like, sort of like ice.
Yes.
Something like that?
Yes, it's made up of ice and ice and what?
It's dirty.
Yeah, what's the dirty part? Look up there, look at my notes. There's the ice, is the snowball. What's the dirty part? Yes. Rock. So, yep, so it's known as a dirty snowball. It's made up of ice and rock. And here's the other thing I learned about comets. They're large, and underneath this, I'm going to do this. This is how large they can be. They can be as large as a small town. Isn't that pretty big? Okay. So, but you know what I found out about meteors? This was kind of interesting. Here's a word for you.
Cosmic.
Cosmic. What does cosmic mean? What does cosmic mean? Yes, sir?
That means it's out of the atmosphere.
Yes, it's out of the atmosphere. It's space. Cosmic. And it's known as, a meteor is known as this. I'll put quotation marks around it. It's known as cosmic. What is litter? What is litter? Cosmic litter. If they tell you, have you ever heard people say don't litter?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean when they tell you not to litter? It means don't. That's what litter is, trash. Well, cosmic litter means space trash. And do you know where the trash comes from? I know. What happens is when little pieces break off of comets, they become meteors. Isn't that kind of neat? So they're cosmic litter, they're pieces of comets, and here's most times meteors are what?
Tiny.
They're tiny, they're not very big. That there are always meteors falling to Earth all the time. Some of you don't even see, right? And then, so let me see what else I have in my notes. I think that's it. They are tiny, they're pieces of comets, and they're known as cosmic litter. That's what I found out. Oh, here's the other thing I forgot to tell you. I'm going to show you this. This is what I found out too. This is, let me see if I can do it. I'm going to show you an illustration right there. All right? What do you think about that? You know what this is a picture of? An illustration of? What's this an illustration of? Yes? It's an illustration of a comet. And it shows, so I'm going to show this. I gotta show comet, so I'm going to write comet so you know. What's this piece right here? It is the tail, so I'm going to put a label for the tail. All right? And do you know what the tail is? Somebody said everything was about fire. That's not what's the same. Do you know what the tail is on a comet? Yes.
Ice.
Say it again.
Ice.
Well, it's kind of. Now look at. Remember the comet's a dirty snowball, and it's kind of facing towards the sun.
Oh,
Yes.
it's fire.
It's not fire. What's happening, do you think, as that's traveling around if it's made of ice and rock? Yes.
It's melting.
It is melting. And you know what the tail is? It's this. Vapor or vapor?
Vapor.
Vapor. And vapor is when the water that water is kind of turning into gas and it's giving off, it's kind of melting and it's giving off vapor. Isn't that neat? But that's not true of a meteor. Guess what a meteor is? Let me see if I can show you this. This is called the, see how good you are, you see? This is the, this dotted line is the,
Atmosphere.
it's the atmosphere. And this is what happens when a meteor hits the atmosphere. That's the meteor. And then here's the tail. What do you think the tail is? This is vapor. Here's the tail. You know what? I'm going to write underneath here. Do you know what the tail is?
Fire.
Uh-huh. The tail on a meteor is fire, right? Because it's hitting the atmosphere and it's burning up when it hits the atmosphere. Anyways, that's my body of my research. What do you think about that? Is that kind of interesting? Yeah? It is very interesting. All right, but now I have to think about, I've got my body, now I have to think about how am I going to introduce this. So I wonder how I could let people know what I'm going to be talking about in my introduction. How about this? This is what I think. I could start off talking about that. What did I just say? I put my notes down there. I put 2 words. What am I going to say, do you think? Space, and what's that last word? Space, yes.
Curious.
Uh-huh. Isn't space kind of curious? I could do that. Space is both curious and... Would that be a good way to start off? And then I could also say this, that a lot of times in space there are, oh, I love this word. I found this word in there. See if you know what this word is. What is that word? Yes. Celestial. What does that mean? Celestial. Yes, sir. Mark. What is... No, no. I want us to be serious. What does celestial mean? What does celestial mean? There are many celestial... How about if I do this? Yeah, it's about space. So, space is curious and interesting because there are many celestial events. What's a celestial event? I'm using some big 3rd grade words here. Yes? That would be one. That means there are space happenings. That's a celestial event. Do you like those words that I'm using? What's a celestial event? What's that mean? What's it mean? A celestial event. Well, it means space, but what's an event? What's the word event mean?
Like a big thing?
Yeah, like a big thing. There are many big things happening in space, celestial events. And that's where I can put, like somebody said, what's a celestial event that I'm going to be talking about? Like meteor showers. Meteor showers, and what else? I'm going to put those in my introduction, yes.
Comets.
And comets, yeah. And that's my introduction. What do you think? Will that be a good way to start off? Talking about that space is interesting and there's a lot of many things happening, like many celestial events, like what? Aiden. There are many celestial events like and meteors. Yeah. What do you want to say? Say it again. Uh-huh. You want to push up? Sure. All right. And so I have I'm going to start out with my introduction. This is my research on what? on comets and meteors. What's left do I have to do in my plan? I have my introduction, I have my research or my body, what's next?
Conclusion.
A conclusion. And do you know what I think I already know how I have to conclude it? That there are some important dates coming up. And I have to look them up, I have to get my notes again, but here are the important dates. I think it was 1 October, there was an important date in November. Look at, I'm abbreviating. What does abbreviating mean? I'm abbreviating. What's that mean?
You're not spelling all of it,
I'm not spelling it all out. What's OCT period stand for?
October.
What does NOV period stand for?
November.
And then, see if you can get this. This is also an abbreviation. December. There are 3 dates coming up. I have to put the dates in. I have to find out what day they are. But they're going to be, do you know what they're going to be on those months? Meteor showers. And do you know what I'm gonna say at the conclusion? Maybe this. What does that mean? Keep your eyes peeled. And I'm gonna say, I'll put an arrow up here. I'm gonna say, keep your eyes peeled, because in October, in November, in December, there's going to be what? Meteor showers. So what does it mean, keep your eyes peeled? Yes, sir.
I mean, it looks very good.
It means look very closely. That's exactly right. Keep your eyes peeled to the,
Sky.
I think maybe that's what I should say. Keep your eyes peeled to the sky. All right? Am I done?
Yes.
I am done. I'm done with my plan. And so the only thing I've got to do is I've got to write my plan. And so I'm going to write in what? How many paragraphs am I going to have? 3. Ready? Let me just show you this quickly. I'm going to do this. What's that mean?
Arrow.
What's the arrow mean? I already told you, yes?
Get a little space.
Get a little space. What do we call that little space? We call it something. What do we call it? Yes, my dear?
Call it
Who remembers what we call that?
Indentation.
I love close. Indentation, right? How many indentations am I going to have when I'm done? Yes, how many paragraphs is my piece going to be? How many, when you write your stories or when you write your informational, how many paragraphs are you going to have?
3.
You do, sometimes, but from now on, we're going to keep it down to how many?
3.
Okay, if it's informational writing, what are your 3 paragraphs going to be?
About 3.
Yes, what are your 3 paragraphs going to be?
About introduction, body, and torso.
I love it. Conclusion. I like how you tried that. Say conclusion.
Conclusion.
All right, if you're writing a story, what are your 3 paragraphs going to be?
Beginning, middle, and end.
Oh my word. I love that little chart up there. How about one more? You. What's your name? If you're doing an informational piece, how many paragraphs are you going to write?
3.
Yes, sir. What's going to be your first paragraph on informational writing?
Begin.
Be careful. Is that a story or information?
Story.
It is a story, right? And where are you going to look, right? Right up here, right? How many paragraphs are you going to have for your story?
3.
And what's going to be your first one? Your first paragraph is going to be on the... What's your second paragraph going to be on? What's your last paragraph going to be on? If you're doing informational writing, what's your first paragraph going to be on?
Introduction. Body. Conclusion.
I love it. Yes, sir. All right, are you ready? Quickly, can I do this? What did I just write? Oh, I keep making a mistake. What did I just write? Yes, what is that called? I'm gonna check that off. What's it called? Is that my title?
Yeah.
All right, so I've got my title. Ready? Watch me write my first sentence. I'm gonna start in a little bit. I'm gonna skip lines too. Why am I skipping lines? Why do I skip lines? Yes, my dear? I can revise and edit. That's exactly right. Space is both. Oh. What did I write? Space is both curious and interesting. Watch this. Can I check this one off? Like that? Look at right here. There are many. What am I going to say next? See if you can. Who can use that vocabulary right now? Yes, my dear.
Celestial.
Yes, celestial
Event.
events. What does that mean? One more time. What is a celestial event? Yes. Things happening in space. Beautiful. Space is both curious and interesting. There are many celestial events so I'm going to put a little check mark there, and then I've just got these two and I'm done with my introduction. Space is both curious and interesting. There are many celestial events to watch. How about this? What's that word? What's that word right there? Yes, my dear? Among. Among those, I'm going to do this. Among those events are comets and what? Yes, so let's just say it. All right, let's see if I'm done. Let's see if you think that's a good introduction, and I'll stop right there. So my title is Comets and Meteors, and my first paragraph is, Space is both curious and interesting. There are many celestial events to watch. Among those events are comets and meteors. What do you think? Is that a good beginning? You think that's good? Okay. I think we'll stop there. What am I going to do next, though? What's the next thing I have to do in my piece? Adam, what's the next thing I have to do? I do have to write my body. And what's the very first thing I'm going to do? Look at what I've got so far. What's the first thing? I've got to start my body. I've got my introduction. I've got everything checked off. Now what am I going to do, Adam? I got to put my body, but what's the first thing I do? I have to indent. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to draw a little arrow. That arrow is going to remind me what, Adam? What's that arrow? That when I type this up, I have to indent. So, all right. And then I'm going to put all my research in there, and I'm going to check things off as I do it, and then I'm going to do my conclusion, right? So how many paragraphs am I going to have? 3 and 3 indents. You guys were great. You've sat for a long time. What's coming up for you next? Is it lunchtime?
You have to do math and then lunch.
And then math? Okay. Yeah. All right.
Maybe not.
So do you think my piece is going to be okay when I'm done? Yeah, do you think it's gonna be a good piece on comets? Do you think I'm getting a little closer to being a comet and meteor expert? Mm-hmm. And you know what's gonna be really fun to do? When I get my piece all done, guess what I'm gonna put in there? These things right here, do you know what we call those? What? Illustrations, and then I get to put in what they are. I'm gonna put a little extra information, because this isn't in my writing, the fact that the tail is vapor, and over here, the tail of a meteor is what? Fire. So I get to draw those, and I think people will be interested in those, don't you think? Yeah, because did you know that tails of a comet were vapor and meteor is fire? Yes?
You can write a book.
Mm-hmm. I kinda am writing a book, aren't I? So that's what you get to do when you do your research, your information. Yes, my dear?
I was gonna say I have a celestial event.
What, you know is a celestial event coming up? What's coming up?
A meteor shower.
Oh, that's exactly right. Are you gonna be ready to watch those?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have to be able to stay up, so hopefully it may be on a weekend so you can stay up to watch them,
My
right?
celestial event was a solar flare.
Actually, I didn't talk to you about this, but you know what, I'm gonna write myself a note up here. I put an A for my audience. Do you know who I want this to go to? You just reminded me. Who do I wanna give this to? Colin, because you know what I want, you know who Colin is? My son. And he just started college, guess what I want him to do? I want him to come and watch those celestial events with me, right? Do you think he'll stay up late with me to watch that? Yes. What did you want to say, sir?
I'm ready to use my telescope that I got on my 6th birthday.
All right, you'll be able to use that to watch those celestial event, that's happening. I'll try and get those dates to your teacher so you can be prepared to see those, right? Okay, yes.
Every year and every week I'm learning new stuff about dinosaurs, like how scientists have recently discovered a lot of bones of dinosaurs from different time periods that are 30, 20, 25,000 years
Wow.
ago.
Yes.
And they're not like a million, they're 1,000.
Wow. So it's not as far away as we think it is?
Yeah.
Holy moly, I love that. So you could take one of those dinosaurs, right? Where would you put that? If you took one dinosaur, where would the research go? In the first paragraph, the second paragraph, or the third paragraph?
At first, I probably talk. In the first paragraph, I probably just talk about how they started discovering these. And
Okay.
then in
That-
the
'cause that
second
would be your-
paragraph,
that-
I start talking about how the dinosaurs were in different periods according to the scientists, like the Triceratops lived in the Cretaceous and the Allosaurus
Yeah.
lived in the Jurassic.
Right, but you know what would be kind of interesting, just to take one dinosaur and put that in the middle and talk about that one dinosaur, right? And that would be your research, because I think we could learn a lot about dinosaurs, couldn't we? What did you want to say?
I have another celestial.
You have a what? Another celestial event? What is that? What is it? Can't hear.
The blood.
Oh, the blood moon? When is that coming up? Is that coming up soon?
Somewhere in October.
It is, and what, you know what, why is it called the blood moon?
Because it turns red
Yes.
and then it turns back to
You know what, a little while ago, another celestial event was something called the mini moon and the super moon. Have you ever heard about that? That's kind of neat. A mini moon is when the moon is at what? Is when it's at its the largest or the smallest? Smallest. What's a super moon? It's at its biggest. It appears its biggest, right? Super moon, mini moon. That's another celestial event. Yes, sir. I gotta go.
I saw one. I saw like a blood moon.
Did you see the blood moon?
It looks like red.
Mm-hmm. Look right to you. Yes.
We went out to look at the moon.
Yes.
Go to the east, and guess what? The moon was like orange.
It was like orange. Maybe that was like the harvest moon or the blood moon, right? Because sometimes that's, the harvest moon looks that color too, so. All right, I gotta stop. We gotta go. You guys are great.